I do believe that our January weather is beginning to settle in. I think our warm front that we had is past, and it is probably time for some cold weathers and some snow, which is very typical for us in our area. This is Bev from Art by Bedell, and I am so glad that you have decided to spend a little time with me as we work on another prompt in my Junk Journal January 2024 journal. And today is January 4th, and we have the prompt of tuck spot. So far, I have been working on my pages in order as they come along, and today this would be the next one in line, but with a tuck spot, I have decided that I am going to skip this page and go on to the next. The reason is, when I put my journal together, sometimes my pages are too long or too tall or whatever, and I just fold them up and then decide when I'm working on the journal what I would like to do with them. So in this case, I had a piece of ledger paper that I've used in my journal, and it was too wide this way horizontally, so I have folded it in twice, and I thought, you know what, that'll make a wonderful tuck spot. First thing I want to do with that is to take it to my sewing machine and do some sewing right along the edges. So I'll be back when I get that done. All right, so I have finished that, and I will, let's see, probably glue it down at this point. I think I'll ink up around the edge of this. I did ink up around the whole outside edge, but now that I've sewn this, I do want to ink up this also, so we'll get this in here. There we go. Adds just that little touch to it. So, and then we'll take our tacky glue and we'll add just a little stream of glue right at the top and right at the bottom to glue this down to make a tuck spot. There we have it. Easy peasy. Then the next thing I want to do is make some momigami paper. Let me put my book aside. I have a piece of ledger momigami paper here, and it's torn up, and that's okay. Usually the older papers, when you do this technique, does get torn up. But I have this piece that I had created, I don't know, I think on our first video with the inks, where I was sopping up the inks. And to make momigami, all you want to do is just take your paper and just knead it and crumple it and knead it and crumple it. Now, it's best if you have a little oil on your hands, and coconut oil is usually what I use right now, but I am out of it, so we're just going to do it without oil. But it does help it to get softer a little faster, and of course, it's always good for your hands, right? So I would keep kneading this. I would wrinkle it up, crinkle it up, and knead it and knead it and knead it, and then unwrap it and crinkle it all again until I got it as soft as I wanted it. And it takes, I don't know, maybe, I guess I've never really counted them. 20, 25 times of crinkling it to get it as soft as what you wanted it. And like I showed you with the ledger paper, the older paper tends to tear, and you just work around it, right? I mean, in our junk journaling, that's just absolutely fine. So this I would work on for a while. For me, the best time to be doing this type of technique would be sitting in front of a movie or wherever, where everything is kind of mindless. I'm just watching a movie and just wrinkling up my paper, and then I can get like a whole batch of it done at one time. To be doing it like in the middle of a project like what I'm trying to do here today, it takes so much time, and it's just usually not time I want to put into a page. So if I can have like a container of it with different papers all ready to go. So this is getting there. It's not there yet. I will finish it off later at some time, but that's just how you do the art of making momigami paper. We are going to use what I've already created with this ledger paper, and I'm just going to tear it down. What I like about it is I love the texture of it. It just, it's soft. It's just very, very nice to add to your journals. So I would add that like right there for some texture, and maybe some on the other side when we get going on the other side of the page. Now, I have also created these ginkgo leaves. My favorite leaf is a ginkgo leaf. And so I had sketched these and watercolored these, and I have them on my Ko-fi site as a freebie that you can go ahead and go pick up if you also like the ginkgo leaves. And so I'm going to put, I think probably 2 of them. I think 3 might be too many. I usually like to do things in 3s, but in this case, I think I'm going to count my piece of momigami paper as 1, and then the 2 leaves, and then that makes 3, because the 3rd leaf on there was just too much. Now, maybe if it was a smaller leaf, I wouldn't mind so bad, but it was just too much. I also want to get a little color on this page too. So I have some of this paper that I had made into momigami, and I'm just going to pull a piece of that, and I'm going to stick this like maybe down here. Let's see. I think I want it up for there, like that, so it kind of peeks out like that. And we're creating our tuck spot with some layers on it, which looks pretty cool. I also have some threads laying here on my table from when I fray edges of fabric or whatever, and that makes nice texture too on my page. Actually, there's a prompt coming up at some point, I think on the 23rd, it looks like, that's texture. This would work real well for that. Maybe I should have saved it for that. Oh well. So anyhow, I'm going to add that there. And then I have to have, oh, I don't have to, but I would like maybe to have a little flower or something. I did have one, here we go, that I was thinking of using, but I almost think it's too big for that area. I could add it maybe over here on this side. So over here on this side, I have some coffee stained copy paper, and it's the piece that I used yesterday. I'm going to tear off the flower that I had watercolored on the bottom. The piece is too big for my page anyhow. And then it's also too wide, so I'm going to tear off some of that also. And this is how I like to measure. I just like to take my paper to my page and fold it and then just tear it. There we go. And this might look nice down here. And I could also add that piece of momigami in that colored, the orange over here at the bottom. Kind of like that too. And bring that all together, right? I don't have any ledger paper over here. There was a piece that I had. Where did I take it? There we go. And I could add a piece of that. Let's get some that has some writing on here, and that could finish out that collage over here. And then this would be my journaling space over here. Now this is a really quick, really simple page. I kind of have cheated with the flap that I had started here, and with having my leaves already made. It's nice to have ephemera on hand that you can use, and that's where a lot of digitals come in handy. But I like to also do my own sketching and make my own digitals, and so that's where those have, let's see, I'm trying to think of when I used them. It was through December, I think, that I used them. I'm not sure. There we go. I will also take this piece of paper and add some stamping lines on it that will serve as journal lines. And I have my old stamp here, which you could use a piece of cardboard for. The stamp, I'm sure, is discontinued. As I mentioned yesterday, all of my stamps are old. So there we go. We have our journaling lines on there. And then that can go over here. And I haven't added any inks to these pages yet, but I think I'll get everything glued down, and then I'll go about adding a few spots of color here and there just to brighten up the page a little bit. I don't mind this where it's not so bright, but the journal started out bright, so I feeling like I kind of have to add some bright colors on every page. I'll probably get tired of that at some point and decide that I'm going to go back to just my neutral, more or less, colors. So anyhow, I'm going to glue this down. Real simple. Wait a minute, guys. I should stitch around the outside of this. So I am going to go back to the sewing machine and stitch around the outside of this. Do I want to? And I do. I'm going to add my layers down first, and then I can just stitch with them too. So I'll add just a little bit of glue to hold it in place until I can get back to the sewing machine. A little bit here too. Put this right up here, and I don't mind that it's upside down. That's fine if it's upside down. And then here is our focal point, and that will go like right here. So then I will take this now and I will add some stitching to this, and then I will be back. There, now I can glue this down on my page. And this page is just a page out of a vintage bird book. I'm going to go around all the outside edges because I'm not wanting to make a pocket or anything out of this, and glue it right down. Now that this side is all glued down, we will glue on this other side. So the first thing I'll add is my momigami ledger paper. They say that if you work your paper long enough, it begins to feel like fabric. Okay, since these stems to our flower are sticking still inside the width of the journal, I'm going to leave them hanging out. Normally I probably would trim them off, but they're not going to be in the way of anything. We're going to see some white on the back side, but that's okay. I'm not offended by that at all. And get this other one down here. Let's see how we want to put it. Put it like that, and then we want this yellow piece of momigami underneath, peeking through. And then with our threads also. And I'm thinking I want to add a butterfly down here. So that's going to be my third element. It's going to be a butterfly. Butterfly seems to go well with the ginkgo leaves. Let's get a little bit of glue on that leaf. There we go. There, we have a nice little tuck spot here. All right, a side tuck spot. So let me find a butterfly. So I have this page of butterflies that was from December that Barbara had given as a freebie. And I am going to cut one of those out. Let's see, which one do I want? I don't want too big of one for here. I'm gonna go with this one down here. We'll fussy cut that out. Here we have it cut out, and I'm gonna ink up around the edges of that also. And then I can glue that down in place. Usually when my butterflies are small, then I cut off the feelers because they're so small anyhow, they're just going to break. I think I'm going to put this up toward the... All right, so my camera, my phone shut off on me, and we didn't get any of the making of this card, but I will talk you through it. So what I had was a piece of food box cardboard that was out of the pantry that I had taken and colored up. I have a video that I will link for you and information about how I do this. I cut a piece of this down to size. You can see here, down to size. And then I also had another piece that was cut out of a box that had a window in it, and so I cut that down to size and layered a piece of this orange paper behind it. So we had some of our orange color coming through, which is the same paper here that I had used. Now this paper is some free digitals from Francesca Nuns, and I will try to remember to link that down below also. Actually, if I don't make myself a list, so I need to list the cardboard video and Francesca's video down below. And then I had glued that onto a piece of book paper cut it out, left a little border around the edge, and then glued that all down to this bigger piece of cardboard. So actually it was just, there's no real technique that you missed out on here. It was just a bunch of gluing down. I glued down some momigami ledger paper. I found this little tea card that I have that's printables, and a little piece of tea bag and some string. Then I carried over onto the back. I used my stamp that I used on the other side of my paper here for journaling on the back of this, put on some more of the momigami ledger paper, and that created my card that is not too big to go into my pocket here and cause any issues with catching or anything. So my next step was, yeah, I did get the butterfly. That's when it cut off. My next step is going to be to add just a little bit of the colors of ink. And instead of dropping the inks on, I'm going to use them like paint. So I'll get a paper plate and a little paintbrush. And I'm going to start with the orange. And I like the orange better because it's a little bit brighter for this project. And I will drop some of that onto my paper plate. You can use whatever you have for a palette. And then I'm just going to water that down slightly. Take my brush and then just add a little bit of the orange color here and there. Boy, that's really, really condensed because I have not watered it down. So it's really pigmented and a whole lot brighter than what I wanted. So let's get some off our brush. I hate to just waste the ink. So I'll find some paper to put it on here. And then let's see if we can water some of this down by watering our brush and moving some of this paint around. And it may already be settled. And so we're just going to have a glob of orange paint there. That's what you get sometimes, guys. You get little mistakes, right? So over here is more what I wanted while I'm adding the ink over here. Now I will know that I need to water those inks down a little bit more when I want to use them as a paint than what I did over here on this spot. I think I probably will see if I can find something to cover that up, because for me that's like an eyesore right now. So maybe if I take some of this green paper and put it under there like that, that will cover some of that up, and that will satisfy me as far as not having that big glob of orange paint right there on my page. That's better. I want a little bit of this, but I don't want like all that there. Okay, so now we have that, and we will take and add just a little bit of blue, being very careful to water this down quite well. Oh goodness, we are on a roll today. Look at the ink I just spread out. All right, we're going to test it on here first, see how much pigment that is. These inks are so strong. I'm not complaining. I mean, there's a lot of power packed behind that for color, but I don't want that much on my project today. So let me just add a little bit of blue down here. Oh, it goes real nice on the momigami where it's raised. Yeah, I like that effect. There, so there gets some of my colors from my cover of my journal onto my page. So I ended up being a bright page, and we can put our little journal card should have a little bit of this color too. So let's just add a little bit of blue here and maybe up here too. And then let's just add, let's see if we can get some of this orange. I think the orange has been overpowered by the blue, so I don't think there's much chance of that. So anyhow, this is good. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the way the page has turned out. Let's see if there's anything else I want to do. I'll set that aside, and we could do a little mark making. Sometimes I go overboard, and so I have to be really, really careful not to. But I think just a little mark making would be an all right thing on this page. So I have my Posca pens, and I'm just going to do some dots. And if I pull it all together like that, and then I can do some up here. I have the splatters of paint there, so that's why I was kind of thinking dots. And that might just be enough. I think we'll just go with that, guys. I'm going to call this page done. Sorry about my camera shutting off. Let's put our little journal card back inside there. But there's my prompt of a tuck spot for today, January 4th. Thanks for watching, and we shall see you again real soon. You have a wonderful day. Have a great day. Bye now.